Hey folks, Kurt Papke coming to you from Tucson, Arizona. At age 62, I still like to do week-long backpacking trips in the Grand Canyon. If you think you're a little bit out of shape or not prepared for a backpacking trip in the Grand Canyon, or maybe you think you've gotten too old for it, then watch this video and I'll show you how to get in shape. So why should you bother to make the effort to get fit for a Grand Canyon hiking trip? Pictured here is the Devil's Corkscrew. It's a good example of a descent along the Bright Angel Trail that'll tear up your quads if you're not prepared for it. It's not like you won't be able to make the trip, it's just that you won't enjoy it as much if you're not prepared and your muscles aren't conditioned for these types of descents. So how long of a time do you need to prepare? If you haven't been staying fit, you should really start about 2 months before your hike so that you're well conditioned by the time you hit the trail. What makes the Grand Canyon unique for hikers is that it's like an upside-down mountain. You start out going down, which seems easy, but it's actually tearing up your quads slowly. And when you turn around to go back up, your knees are wobbly, and then you have a real aerobic challenge on the climb out.
This is an example of why strengthening your quads is so important. We're on the North Kaibab Trail, going down the just below the Supai Tunnel. And you can see this serpentine area is just solid steps. So as Mark goes down, every time he takes a step down, his quad fires, does an eccentric contraction, and destroys a little bit of muscle. And the next day we have delayed onset muscle soreness. So if you exercise with eccentric exercises, preparation for this, you can help not eliminate, but at least reduce the amount of delayed onset muscle soreness.
The best way to practice for any sport is to do that sport. So the best way to prepare for the Grand Canyon is to hike up and down mountains, hills, or canyons with somewhat similar elevation to what you'll experience in the canyon. I'm fortunate to live in Tucson, Arizona, where I have 5 mountain ranges within an hour drive of my home. So in this case, I'm training in the Tucson Mountains in Saguaro National Park. Some people like to train with a fully loaded backpack, but I find if I do enough altitude without a pack, that'll get me fit for the Grand Canyon. I recommend you use trekking poles in the Grand Canyon to take the stress off your knees and to propel you up the hills. But to do so, you should really train with your poles before you go because it will fatigue your arms and shoulders after a long day on the trail. So do train with your poles ahead of time. The second best thing you can do to prepare for a Grand Canyon hike is to run sprints. In the video here, I'm shown running 20-second sprints on flat ground, but running them on hills is even better. The single best eccentric exercise you can do for your quads is the step down. One of the great things about this exercise is it can be done pretty much anywhere you can find a step. All you do is stand on the step and slowly lower your foot down until it just barely touches the ground. You don't want to transfer the weight to your down leg. You just want to barely touch the surface and then bring it back up again. I generally do these in sets of 10 or 20, and if you can do 100 of them, that's really great. Another great exercise is lunges. You can do these either as a forward lunge or a reverse lunge. The reverse lunge will be a little bit easier on your knees. Again, you can do about 100 of these, and once you hit 100, you can weight yourself up with a few dumbbells, gallon jugs, whatever weights you can find to add a little bit more stress to your legs. Lunges are great because you can do them just about anywhere, even when you're traveling. You don't need any equipment at all. All you need is a floor and enough space to be able to do the lunge. Of all the lunging style of exercises, Belgian split squats are the ones I love to hate. They can be done anywhere, just like lunges, but these are a little different in that you put your rear foot up on a chair. I find this one is really tough on your balance, and I have to hold on to something like a chair in order to keep from tipping over. But if you can do these without holding on to anything, that's the best way to do it. These are really easy on your back and your knees, so if you have any joint problems, this is the one to do. Another one of my favorite exercises to prepare for Grand Canyon hikes is kettlebell swings. These are a hip hinge, and even though they look like they are more of an arm and shoulder exercise, they're really primarily a hip exercise that will really get your glutes and your hamstrings in shape for hiking. Kettlebell swings are a moderate interval training exercise in that they will get your heart rate up and get you breathing hard, but you won't be completely exhausted after doing a set. Another great exercise to prepare for hiking is a kettlebell snatch. This combines a swing with an overhead push press, which is really a great overall whole body exercise that really gets your heart pumping. Low back barbell squats are considered to be the king of exercises. There's really nothing that will exercise all of your legs and hips as well as a barbell squat will do. However, it is a little bit tougher on the back, and you do need a rack in order to do this properly and safely. So I've given you a lot of different options here, and you're probably not going to have time to do them all. So what's the priority? First of all, do the exercise, the one that you will do the most often with the highest consistency, highest duration, and highest intensity. It's more important that you exercise often and hard than to get too obsessed over doing one particular type of exercise. Secondly, do the one that you find that you hate to do the most, not one that hurts, but the one that really gives you the most issues, because that's probably where you're weakest and where you really need the most improvement. Third, find time to hike up mountains and hills. There's just no substitute for practicing the sport. Next, there's no substitute for weighted step downs. These exercises are really key to preserving your quadricep muscles on the long descent into the Grand Canyon. Last, but certainly not least, do some sort of sprints or interval training to condition your cardiovascular system to be able to handle the hike out of the canyon. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you've learned something that will help you enjoy your next backpacking or hiking trip into the Grand Canyon.